To be an effective communicator, you have to either inherently or just study the abstraction ladder. And what this is essentially you're able to move up and down this abstraction ladder with your word choices to be either more specific or more abstract. So when you get more abstract, you're talking about theories. But when you get more down to a granular level, you're kind of giving examples of what you're talking about. So I have an example here where we're going to talk about a cow, right? A cow on a farm. So if we have a cow on a farm, that is the lowest level that you can possibly get as far as on the abstraction ladder. You can start from the bottom, you go up to the top, you get more abstract the higher you get. So a cow, right? So let's see, a cow, you know what it is already. I don't have to explain it. And as we move up the ladder, this cow may have a name, right? So this cow can be called, reverse that. The cow's name is Bessie, so we know this cow is Bessie. And as we get more abstract, okay, this animal, Bessie, is a cow. So you could just refer to it as a cow, not as Bessie, because Bessie is as descriptive as you can get, because it's that one particular cow you're talking about. And as you move up, you talk about the cow. So you could just refer to Bessie as a cow, because it is a cow. And as you move up even further, you could call it livestock. So when it's livestock, it could be referring to a whole bunch of cows. So Bessie is also a cow, and it is also a livestock. You move up and you get into farm assets. So farm assets can refer to anything that generates money from the farm, and cows are one of them. Livestock is one of them. So you see how you're getting more and more abstract when you're referring to something? It starts with Bessie, then it goes to cow, then it goes to livestock, then farm assets. We can go even higher. Let's go higher, shall we? Beyond that, you just go into a general asset. It's not necessarily just a farm asset. If someone owns a lot of assets and one of them is a farm asset, you could generalize and say that's just one of the assets that this person owns. So you go even further and it goes into wealth. What generates your wealth? One of those things is assets. So you see you can go higher and higher and higher. And the higher up you go, you're able to just generalize the information you're talking about. And if someone doesn't understand what you're referring to, you get more descriptive. You go lower down the ladder as you're talking about a concept. Like, let's talk about farm assets. Well, what do you mean? I mean like a cow. I mean like livestock. You move down the ladder to be more descriptive so someone understands what you're saying. And this example is just given so you can understand what the abstraction ladder is, because as you're communicating with someone, if you're talking about ideas, it's important to know how to go up and down this ladder so your receiver of information is understanding what you're saying. And it's important for them to ask questions too if they don't understand. People who are just agreeing and nodding and they don't know what you're talking about, they're not going to understand what you're talking about because they're not asking the question, because they're not asking you to change your communication style, your abstraction level, so they can understand what you're referring to. So an inherently good communicator knows how to do this already off the bat because it's just second nature to them. But for the rest of us, it's something that you need to learn. Whether you know it by the term or you just understand the concept without knowing the term. The term's abstraction ladder. So when you're describing something to somebody, it's important to know the highest you can go is the theory, and the lower you go, you get more descriptive so people can understand what you're referring to. And this will allow you to effectively communicate your concepts easier to people because you're able to give descriptive examples of these high-level concepts. And the other way around. You can tie in an example into a high-level concept. So this is an effective way to communicate. There's many other tools like this, but this one is very important when you're trying to describe something to somebody, or especially when you're coming up with ideas and theories.